You may recall that young people were part of President Obama's base as he was swept into office calling for hope and change. Well, a new book by a young conservative author now says the millennial generation is becoming disenchanted by what it believes are broken promises and false hope. Katie Kieffer is the author of Let Me Be Clear, Barack Obama's War on Millennials and One Woman's Case for Hope. Welcome. Great to have you here today.
Thanks so much for having me on, Uma.
You point out that a recent Harvard University study from the Institute of Politics poll reveals there's a low level of trust among millennials and the federal government, particularly the president, with less than a quarter of Americans under 30 planning to vote in the midterms. What happened?
Right, well, we look out there and we see that over 15% of millennials are unemployed. Over a third of my generation is living at home with their parents. These are all-time highs. We haven't seen these numbers for the past 40 years. And so what I do in my book is I educate millennials in the voice of their peer and show them here's why this happened, but also here are concrete steps and solutions that we can take to pursue the American dream, as well as concrete steps that independents and conservatives can take to win these swing votes in the future, because my generation is 95 million strong, and we have the power to determine the future of the midterms as well as the presidential election.
So why is it that so many more young people are losing hope of ever collecting on the American dream?
I believe it's because they voted for this president thinking that he was going to create jobs and that he was going to reduce their student loan debt. Those were the promises that he provided for us. He offered all these promises with regard to Obamacare. We're seeing now that our generation is going to have to subsidize this low quality and a very high cost system. And so we're seeing that everything that he promised, both in 2008 and in 2012, is not coming to pass. And that's why young people are potentially not coming out to vote at all. We do need them to come out and vote, and so that's why I'm trying to give them hope and solutions.
But why is it the president, why does he need to be held accountable? So many polls are showing that the public's disenchanted with politics as usual, and Congress is at an all-time low as well.
Well, this president, but through the use of executive order primarily, and also through his continual lies and through the use of the IRS to shut down the Tea Party groups, has, through his own actions, lied to this generation and set this generation back. And so he is directly responsible. I also hold his entire administration responsible in this book. It's not just him, but we must remember, is responsible for putting everyone from Eric Holder to Janet Napolitano into the positions that they have held.
All right, Katie, thank you very much for joining us. A very provocative book indeed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Uma.